parallelograms. Now parallelograms, they are very special type of quadrilaterals. They are special type of quadrilaterals. Why they are special, we will see. So first of all, I'm going to draw a parallelogram. A parallelogram, I'm assuming that you all know that they look like this. Now if you have a figure which looks like this, do not assume that it is a parallelogram, okay? Unless this figure follows a certain properties, we cannot assume that this will be a parallelogram. Now what are those properties? First property is that the opposite sides will be congruent. Opposite sides will be congruent. That means, so I'm going to name it A, B, C and D. So opposite sides are congruent. That means AB will be congruent to DC and AD will be congruent to BC. Second property is that opposite sides will be also parallel. So not just the opposite sides are congruent, but they are also parallel. So the opposite sides will be parallel. So AB will be parallel to DC and your AD will be parallel to BC. Next property is that the opposite angles are congruent. Your opposite angles will be congruent. So that means angle D is congruent to angle B and your angle A is congruent to angle C. And fourth property, which is the second last property, that says consecutive angles are supplementary. Consecutive angles are supplementary. So the consecutive angles are angle D and angle C. So angle D and angle C. Now supplementary means that they add up to 180 degrees. So angle D and angle C 180. So there are four supplementary pairs. Then angle D and angle A also 180 degrees. Then angle A plus angle B will be 180 degrees. And angle B and angle C will be also 180 degrees. And the fifth and the last property is on diagonals. It says that the diagonals bisect each other. So the diagonals of a parallelogram, they bisect each other. Okay, so I'm going to draw a diagonal. This is first diagonal DB and the other diagonal is AC. So they are going to bisect each other. That means if this point is O, so DO will be equal to OB and AO will be equal to OC. Now these are all the properties of a parallelogram. All of these should be satisfied for a figure to become a parallelogram. Now let's see some questions that you can expect on properties of parallelogram. Okay, let's say you have this parallelogram and this is ABCD, ABCD. This side is 15, this side is 8, and this angle is 68 degrees. We have to find out the measure of AD, DC, measure of angle A, measure of angle B, and measure of angle C. So pause the video and try to find out these measurements. Okay, now all these measurements can be found out by using the properties of parallelograms that we just did. Okay, first let's find out the sides AD and DC. AD, now the first property was that opposite sides are congruent. Okay, so BC will be congruent to AD, that means AD will be 8. DC will be congruent to AB, so AB is 15, so DC is gonna be 15. Now measure of angle A, so this is angle A. Now to find out, before finding out angle A, we will find out angle B by using the third property. Third property says that opposite angles are congruent. Okay, so angle B is opposite to angle D, and D is 68, so B will be also 68 degrees. So this is going to be 68 degrees. And you know, angle A and angle C are opposite, so they will be same. So if you find out angle A, angle C will be also the same thing. Now to find out angle A, you use the property that consecutive angles are supplementary. Okay, so your angle A plus angle D will be equal to 180 degree because they are consecutive. So angle A will be equal to 180 minus angle D, and angle D is 68 degrees, so the answer will be 112 degrees. So angle A will be 112, so this is 112, and angle C is opposite to angle A, so opposite angles are congruent, so this will be 112 degrees. Now what are the other type of questions that you can get? You can have parallelogram, and instead of numbers you can have expressions this time. Let's say we have this parallelogram. It is LMNP, LMNP. LM is 9x minus 25 and Pn is 5x plus 7, and this is a parallelogram and we have to find out the value of x. Now pause the video and think about it. Okay, so since this is a parallelogram, we know that opposite sides are congruent. So we know that LM will be congruent to Pn, and we will use this property to set. So we know that LM will be congruent to Pn. So 9x minus 25 will be equal to 5x plus 7. Now 9x minus 5x will give you 4x, and 7 plus 25. 4x is equal to 32, so x is equal to 8, and that's the answer. Okay, a similar question can be asked on angles. Let's say you have a parallelogram, and this time angles are given to us: P, Q, R, S. This angle is 8x minus 12 degrees, and this angle is 3x plus 5 degrees. We have to find out the value of x. Now see, angle Q and angle P, they are what? They are consecutive angles. So you know that in a parallelogram the consecutive angles are supplementary. So angle P and angle Q, both of them will add to 180 degrees. So angle P is 3x plus 5 and angle Q is 8x minus 12. So they are equal to 180 degrees. Now 3x plus 8x is 11x, and 5 minus 12 will be negative 7, and that is equal to 180. So 11x is equal to 180 plus 7, that will be 187, and so x will be equal to 17, and that's the answer. So I hope you understood the properties of parallelograms. In the next video, we will do properties of rhombus.